All righty, guys. Well, good morning once again. Thanks for being on the call. Love the wake-up call. Just love being a part of this community, and I hope that that everybody can take something from every call. So let's go ahead and jump right into the call today. What I want to talk about today is we've been talking about how to manifest, how to get into the alpha state, how the alpha state is around 10 cycles per second of brain waves, and how that is the perfect brain wave so that we have one foot in the spiritual realm and we have 1 foot in the material realm or the physical realm, and that's where our thoughts, our dominant thoughts become reality. That's where they take ground. That's where you can look at the alpha state as the perfect soil to plant your seeds. Okay, and we talk about that. If you go back to our previous calls on our in our YouTube channel, I want to thank Patty Carson for always posting that and handling that part of this wake-up call. So kudos to her. She's always so awesome to do that. And you can go back and you can listen to previous Friday calls from me, and you can see how we've taught the process of manifesting. But just like any farmer, anybody that is nurturing a garden or nurturing their plants, there's things that we have to be careful with. We have to be careful of certain insects, certain worms, certain bugs. We have to be just certain. We have to make sure that we are careful to not let a plague attack our garden and kill what we've sowed, or make us have to replant some areas of our garden. So that is also something we have to work on as we're planting these dominant thoughts, these goals and these dreams that we have. And so I want to talk about the things today that will affect that garden, that will affect that seed, that we have to look out for, and that ultimately delays being able to manifest the life that you want. And I always want to tell people that we live in a negative society where we feel we have to work so hard for something. We have to pay a certain price. And I'm not saying there isn't a price to pay, but it's not the price that has been usually told to us that we have to pay. It's not about working so hard and physically working so hard to accomplish something. We have to pay a price in physically and mentally sowing those seeds and then protecting those seeds. And we also, because we live in a negative society, we're taught that we don't deserve things, and that when we do something wrong, we have to pay a certain price. And I'm not an advocate of doing anything wrong, but I'm also not an advocate of somebody feeling so guilty and others giving them such a guilt trip that it affects them and it affects what they've sown. Because we're all sowing every minute of the day that we're alive, that we're awake, we're sowing something into this garden of subconscious mind that we have. And so what I want to talk about is those things that will really negatively impact your garden, okay? So first one, and I've talked about this many times, is fear. So if you're fearful, you are not fertilizing your garden the right way. What you're doing is you're fertilizing it with poison. You're killing your garden. You're taking steps back. Fear is an illusion. Fear is a negative emotion, and fear doesn't exist. If somebody says, what is fear? Show me fear. There is no fear. Fear is just us taking a negative thought and emotionalizing it so to the point where we can feel it in the pit of our stomach. And it paralyzes us, and it paralyzes the seeds that you've been planting. So I've taught you ways to overcome fear. But one of the things you always have to understand with fear is that God didn't make us to be fearful. He gave us His power, and we have His power inside of us to create anything that we can imagine. And we want to imagine things that are good, that help not only us and our families, but in the long run it helps society. It helps the people around you. And He gave us a power to be able to have these wonderful thoughts and imagine wonderful things. And society is what always causes us to have that fear, because fear comes from the fact that we sometimes have to bridge our faith and reality, something coming to fruition. We have to bridge that. And that bridge has to be with that constant sowing of positive thoughts. And what society does is it makes us doubt that we can take our thoughts and we can create that into a reality. And so as we're creating this bridge that is called faith, what ends up happening is that doubt starts being reinforced in society, and that doubt starts becoming fear. And what is faith? Faith, we said, it's a desire. It's having a desire, believing in it, and expecting it, right? So we have to strengthen those three things. And so when we start having doubt, that seed will grow, and it'll grow, and it'll grow into fear. And I just want you to always have, in races, when you have horse races, you have the horses, they show them the track, but they also put blinders on them, so they can't see anything on their right or their left. They're just looking at the end goal. And that's what I always want you to do. That's what I do. Now, is this something we're always perfectly going to be able to handle? No, we're human. So it's normal to have moments of fear, moments of doubt. That's normal. What's not normal is to continue to stay in those states of mind. We have to have our blinders on, and we have to look at the end goal. And even though we may have moments where, yes, we lag, and yes, we take a little bit of a step back, we have to overcome that by just looking at that end goal, strengthening your faith, which is strengthening your desire, your belief, and expectancy, knowing that God's promise is inherent in all of us. It's built in. It's part of our DNA. You couldn't, when you see an heir of a king, that heir can't really do anything to take away what he's going to inherit. There's nothing. Whether they take his riches away or whatever happens, they throw him in a jail cell somewhere, or they steal him when he's a baby, and he doesn't even know. He still has that inheritance in him. He still has royalty blood in him. And you have to understand, so do we. So there's nothing that you should fear, because there's nothing that can take that away from you. And if you have that belief inside of you and knowing inside of you, we're going to be fine, guys. Now, the other things that cause us to lose or damage our garden in our mind is certain emotions. And I'll tell you those emotions, these emotions, as well as fear, they drain your energy. What I want you to understand is we're like a battery. We have so much energy, and if you want to, say you want to power your, have you guys ever had a remote control when the battery's dying out? That's the worst thing, a remote for your TV when the battery's dying out. You try to press the volume, and it won't work, and then it works sometimes, and it doesn't work other times, and God forbid you're trying to change the channel to your favorite program that's just not coming on, and the channels you can't get them to work. And then when you're finally done, you want to go to sleep, you can't turn the dang thing off, because these new TVs, you don't even know where to turn them off or on the console. You always have to use a remote. So That's what happens to us when we start getting these negative, these fearful emotions, and the ones I'm about to tell you. It drains your battery, and that's how we're looking. So just imagine the TV is manifesting our dreams and our desires, and then just think of you being the remote, and now with these emotions that I'm talking about, now you're draining yourself of the energy you need so that you can power on, so that you can actually create those wonderful things, manifest those wonderful things. Okay, so it's a delay. It delays everything. These next ones are very, very important, and I work on them every day. Okay, the first one is resentment. Hatred. Well, it's a combination, okay, of words. It's resentment, it's hatred, and it's anger. Okay, those three: resentment, hatred, anger. There's nothing that anybody can do to you, and I'm talking about the most horrific thing, where we have a right to have resentment, anger, and hatred in our heart. Now, I'm not saying in the beginning you might not be angry. Yes, you have to be. That's an emotion that we feel. If you don't, you're suppressing things that are going to come out someday. But we have to work to get that resentment and that hatred out of our hearts, because it's a cancer, and it literally becomes a cancer in your body. It will manifest into a cancer in your body. It'll manifest into disease. We have to be forgiving, and we have to have a loving heart always, always. And we have to practice that, because it's easy to love people that love you, and it's easy to get along well and wish the best to people that do well to you. But somebody that steals from you, somebody that robs you, somebody that harms you, it's very hard to bless them. But that's where we need to practice, that God loves us no matter what we do, and so what gives us the right to not do the same to others? I think if it's good for God, it's good for us. Is we need to love, we need to forgive, we need to get anger, hatred. We can be angry at times, but we can't have an angry state of mind. We can have an angry episode, an angry moment, but don't have an angry state of mind. Don't have a resentful state of mind. You can be resentful for a minute, for maybe half a day, but you have to get that out of you. Hatred, you can be really not in good liking of somebody for something they did, but you have to let it go. What I do is I try to put myself in their shoes. Something horrible, I try to say, well, something horrible happened with them when they were little, because we learn from what we're shown, right? Monkey see, monkey do. That's how we all learn. So you have to work on letting those go, and there's programs, and there's books, and there's a lot of stuff that we can do. But I'm running out of time, so I want to say the last one, and probably the worst. Well, no, resentment's pretty bad too, but it's like 1A and 1B. I would say this is 1A. And this one will, if you want to not be successful and you want to make sure that you do never, ever manifest your dreams and desires, I'll tell you how to do it. You say, Juan, I never want to manifest anything that I want. Well, I got the formula for you. This will completely destroy your garden, and it will set you years back. It'll set you decades back. And that's judgment. When we judge others. See, when we're trying to accomplish goals, human nature, because we've been programmed by a negative society. And I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about the people in power. The shadow people, okay? You'll never know these people. But they set the stage for us to have these negative emotions, and they set the stage for judging, okay? America always talks about the hero, and that this one hero, and that this Superman, and that this, and this one superhero. But in essence, what they're teaching us is to be jealous, because there's only one. It doesn't say like everybody can get there. There's one. So you start looking at, well, there's only one, and there's a bunch of us. I want to be that one. And it tends to nurture a judgmental mentality. And so judgment, what judgment is wanting You want something that somebody has, and envy, and judge, envy. You want something that somebody has because you believe that you can't have your own of that. You have to take it from somebody, okay? So, and what happens when you judge is you start creating a vibration that turns into a frequency. Remember, we're energy, vibration, and frequency. Energy is you being alive, you being in constant motions, all the cells moving. Vibration is creating words with that energy, and those words are created through your dominant thoughts. Frequency is when you make sentences of that. Man, that person has that, but you know what? And this is the way it works. I did it for years. Well, they have that because of this. Because this is the thing that they had to help them that I didn't have. So that's not fair. And we judge them. And then what the worst thing is, you get around a bunch of people that are the same way, and you start saying, yeah, right, guys? And then you go, and then just don't fall in the trap of then going, yeah, you're right, and then also this, and this, and this. What we're doing is, let me just tell you, because I'm out of time, but let me give you this. Where you damn somebody, you damn yourself. Where you put somebody in a cave, you put yourself right there. You've now created that vibration that you are damning yourself and your situation. So whenever you judge somebody, you're judging yourself. And whatever you judge somebody, that's what you're showing. You think about yourself. So just think of that. If you see somebody rich and you judge them, oh, yeah, well, that's because they stole from everybody else. What you're saying is that you're the thief. You're saying that that's the only way you would be able to be rich. See, that's what happens. Most people think that by judging others, it's like a comfort food for us. I know. I lived that for years, but it also puts you in a prison that is very difficult to get out. And then when you get around others that do the same thing, you guys all put yourselves in. We all put ourselves in prisons, and we throw the key away. Okay, we'll never advance that way. So let me tell you, and I'm going to leave you with this. When you see something that you want to judge, bless those people, bless that situation, or say, I have no idea. Somebody says, you know what this person did, is that right, Juan? And then in the past say, you're right, and then, no. This person, is that right, Juan? You know what? I have no idea. I don't know that person. I mean, first of all, I don't even know if what you're saying is true, and you don't either, because we don't know. Back out. Find creative ways to back out so people don't get offended at you. Oh, so you're agreeing with them. No, I'm not agreeing with them either. I just don't know. And then I always say, well, I mean, I've this and that in my life, and I don't know. And then, so don't do that. And then when you see somebody that has what you want, say you want this beautiful car, beautiful this, beautiful that, beautiful husband, beautiful husband. You don't have that? Bless them, say, because here's the blessing in things. We judge people for what they have that we don't have. And you know, when we see those people, you don't understand. God is showing you what you're about to have. God is showing you what's coming to you, and instead of receiving it by saying, thank you, God, wow, bless that man with more millions. Bless that guy with more of this, more of that, because now I see what's coming to me. Bless him. And when you do that, you attract that. You start attracting that heavily into your life. Okay? But when you say, oh, my gosh, look at that. Yeah, they have that, but they're bad people. They stole from people. They use people. Well, now God, imagine what God's doing. He's shaking his head. He's like, man, I wanted to show Juan what he's going to get, and look at that. He's damning that. Now he can't get it. I wish I could give it to him, but those laws are laws. He can't get it. What am I going to do to teach him to embrace what others have, bless what others have, so that he can be blessed? Because where you put somebody, you put yourself. So now look at this. When you raise somebody and put them in a mountain, you're raising yourself, putting yourself closer to being next to them in that mountain as well. Well, guys, I'm out of time. I hope you took some nuggets from this. Always remember to go back and listen to them on the YouTube channel. And please do, because it's just you need to get it into your mind to where it becomes – you have to listen to it several times so it becomes a part of you. But have a great weekend. Love you guys.